Hey everyone, I'm Daniel,
And I'm June,
and this is
Korean.
American. Hey everyone,
Hey,
this is the pilot of our podcast.
yeah,
We hope I think we should preface it, right?
yeah.
Yeah. We just want to give you a bit of background about us, what this podcast is going to be about.
Yes.
And yeah, hope it's enough to have you start, subscribe and listen to us. So
Sounds good. You want to go first?
sure,
First?
doesn't matter.
Okay, you go first.
Oh God, we're so bad. My name's Daniel. I was born and raised in America, specifically in Maryland, the greatest state in the union. I also lived in California for the past 16 years.
Wow.
But about 2 years ago, I moved to Korea. And so, why did we move to Korea? Actually, it's a longer story, but the heart of it was for me and my wife, and also we now have 4 kids. I really wanted them to have more perspective. I think growing up, there was a point I realized, wow, I really only think one way. I only know the American way. And I just want more perspective for me and my kids. And, ever since moving here, that has been the greatest thing about being in Korea. It used to be every day, multiple times a day. Now I'd say probably every week still. I have like some revelation about, okay, like this thing is different in Korea. Why is it different than in the US? What is the root cause of that? And, really coming to the conclusion, it's not that one is better than the other, but that they're different for a good reason. And it makes sense given either, Korea's history or US's history, or there's some cultural norm or expectation that is really driving the difference. And for me, I really wanted to start documenting these before I forgot about them. And so, yeah, that's really, a lot of my friends from the US are visiting Korea this summer. They're all having the same revelations that I am having, right? And at first, they're very surface level. Oh, no one wears sunglasses. No one wears shorts here, right? Why do people back into parking spots, right? Why don't people hold the door for me? These are all the surface level things that they're starting to realize immediately. And, over time, I think if they lived here like I have been, they would also start coming upon these more deeper differences. But anyway, I just want to record these before I forget. And then, of course, June, I just, like hanging out with you. And I think these are really fun for me. So yeah, that's my goal, to have more perspective for me and my family. And I hope by recording and sharing this, every listener would have a little bit of a, glimpse into Korean life, Korean culture, and broaden their own perspective. Oh, the US way is different than the Korean way. And it's not that, again, one is better than the other, but they're different. And there's a good reason why.
Cool. I think, Daniel, you pretty much covered the purpose of why we're doing this podcast. I'll just start with a brief intro of myself. I'm June. I am born and raised here in Korea. I've had the opportunity to live in the States for a couple years here and there, once during the early 90s and once during mid 2000s to early 2010s. And yeah, so how we got to start this podcast is that, so Daniel and I actually worked together before, and while we're having lunch conversation, we got into these topics a lot about the differences between Korea and America. And I thought that was really interesting, especially for me, not only in understanding what an American person's perspective of Korea is, but also really for the first time for a lot of things, starting to think of things differently, and things that I've thought and done very naturally, think about it again and really think about the roots of why Korean people act or think in certain ways. So I thought that was really interesting. And then I think it was your wife who brought up the idea of like, why don't you guys make this into a podcast? I thought that was really interesting and fun, and especially it's convenient because we live very close to each other. We actually live like 5 minutes walking distance away from each other. So yeah, we decided to meet on a weekly basis, decide on a topic, and record podcasts.
Yeah, it's a convenient excuse now that we're no longer coworkers to just meet and hang out. I'm also an avid podcaster, so I just listen to them constantly. And yeah, it's just something fun to do. So did I not give an intro of myself?
You did. You did a very prolonged intro.
No, but I gave my reason for this podcast. I don't think I introduced myself. Did I?
You said you grew up in Maryland,
Yeah, but that's all I said. Yeah. Moving here.
California. You have 4 kids.
Married, 4 kids.
Yeah.
Oh, in tech.
You didn't say in tech.
Oh, okay. That's the thing I didn't leave.
We worked in tech.
We worked together in tech. So, yeah, I mean, okay, I think my goal for this is, again, we both recognize we don't represent our entire countries, right? We are, both male, of a certain age, right? We represent that specific point in time. So by no means do I claim to represent or know everything about America.
Yeah.
But I did grow up there the first, 36 years of my life. So I will bring that to the table.
Yeah.
And hopefully share that perspective and help people living outside of Korea better understand Korea from maybe a Western perspective.
Yeah, I think that's a really important thing to say. Same with me. A lot of the things that I would say during the podcast strictly is my personal opinion, and don't want to say that I'm representing the entire Korean demographic or population. But I would think I would hope a lot of things that I say would resonate with people living in Korea.
Yeah. And really that point about our lunchtime conversations, every lunch it feels like ended up with us talking about some core difference. And so,
Mind's blown every time.
Mind's blown, like, oh my gosh, is that why X, right? And so this is really kind of a natural evolution of just our lunchtime conversations that we hope to share with you all. So if you've made it this far, we hope you'll enjoy listening to us, subscribe to our podcast channel, and give us feedback. We're on @Korean American Podcast on Instagram, and
Yeah, it's going to be really fun.
Welcome.
Please subscribe.